Hello, everybody. Welcome to my show. I realized I think I've been saying phonogenics. Then shouldn't be phonogenics. Well, fuck it. Whatever the show's called. I'm from Western New York. Phonogenics 101. Thank you to my Patreon subscribers. I just got my direct deposit for the month. And that helps pay for my annual Zoom subscription, as well as my creative projects. I'm about to film a music video. And thank you to everyone that subscribed on YouTube. Every time I log on, there's more subscribers. So someone likes watching us. And if you like watching us, consider subscribing to my Patreon, even for $1 a month. Because if all 310 of you gave me $1, then I wouldn't have to pick up some extra shifts waiting tables. Okay. Tonight, we are going to talk about Prince. And I have a really great crew tonight. This is a different crew than we've ever had for the Prince. But I feel like this might carry us through the rest of his discography. Give or take some. Clark Brooks usually jumps on, but he's not here tonight. But I'm going to go person by person and introduce you, and then say where you're from and a little bit about your love for Prince. We're going to start with Aisha.
My name's Aisha Staggers. I am from Connecticut, and Parade is my favorite Prince album. So I'm really excited about doing this one because it puts me back at being like 11 years old every time I hear it. So I hear it with like 11-year-old ears every time. So
cool. And we also had to say a little shout out, that a little cross promotion. Don't you also do a podcast with Prince protege Jill Jones?
Yes, Jill and I do State of Things with Aisha and Jill on the Dr. Vibe show. And it's on 9:00 on Saturday nights, Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome. And we love Jill.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. Next, we have Jahida, coming from the Joni Mitchell group. You may recognize her from the Joni Mitchell family, but she has joined the Prince family tonight.
Well, as he said, my name is Jahida Esperanza. I live in Colorado, which right now it's like 6 degrees outside. And I know Melissa's like, no. And I have loved Prince ever since I was little. I think my parents were fans, and so the stuff that I could hear, they played, and it just got more and more the older I got. There was a period there where I wasn't listening to him as much, and then when I came back, I was like, oh my God, he's amazing, and I remember him being amazing, but now it's even more so because I understand what he's, talking about. And so I decided to immortalize my love for Prince, and I got myself a Prince tattoo.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
That looks like mine. I have one on my ankle.
Nice. Yeah, it's my it was my second tattoo. And I have a Joni one as well. But yeah, that's my love. And I have purple hair. Purple is one of my favorite colors, and I think it's because of Prince. So I'm also looking forward to Parade tonight because it has my second favorite song on it.
Cool. Up next, we have someone that also does a Prince podcast, and he has been for a good 4 or 5 years. Aloy.
Hey, y'all. Yeah, I'm Aloy. I have 2 tattoos. I guess let's start with that. So I got this one, Bram, and then I also went and got, because also I love Sexy, so I have the Yes as well, because I freaking love that. I actually stole that from Troy Gua because he had one on his chest. I was like, oh, I want one just like that. But yeah, I love Prince as well. I got into Prince when I was 11, so that's kind of interesting, Aisha. But I got into Prince when I was 11. It was Graffiti Bridge that got me into Prince, though. So I am excited to be here for Parade. I have done a review of Parade, the movie Parade. I've had several Parade discussions all over my channel, which is called Prince's Friend. It's on YouTube. You can go check it out. So I'm excited to share those thoughts here as well. I have been inspired by Prince my whole life, including in my own musical endeavors. My album In My Head was released from my musical project called Strays of the World, also named after one of my all-time favorite Prince songs.
And it's great, by the way. I love what I've heard of your music. I love it.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. And last but not least, someone that's been with me on these Prince discussions since the very first one. So I guess you haven't, weren't you?
I was. I got roped into it.
Oh,
And then I bet you just can't get rid of me.
oh, I would never want to get rid of you. So this is Melissa. Introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm from Ohio, and I am tattooless and proud, as to quote Prince. I would get a tattoo of his symbol, but no, I can't do tattoos. I've loved Prince since middle school. I think Controversy came out and I heard some songs, but then when I saw him on the videos, that was it. Like Little Red Corvette dancing across the stage. It was all over. Parade, I love this album. It's got a lot of favorites. I love the movie, of course, too. Under the Cherry Moon, for those who don't know. See if you can see Prince there.
Aw.
But yeah, I'm just excited to talk about this.
So who's someone that was with Prince in the beginning? Because I was trying to think of, like, Melissa, you'd be my Andre
What?
Simone. Like, who is someone that was with Prince from the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
Andre, yeah.
Okay, you're my Andre Simone then. You've been with me
Okay.
since the beginning. I have someone that was on my Stevie Nicks family, Alicia, and I call her my Waddy Wachtel because that's Stevie's sidekick since the beginning. All right. So, of course, a little history. I feel like everyone watching this probably already knows about Prince, but, you know, in case it's like 500 years from now when someone's watching, a little pop culture review. Purple Rain came out in 1984 and was a huge album. He followed up in 1985 with Around the World in a Day, which he lost the purple and replaced the aesthetic with a more psychedelic, experimental edge. And then the follow-up was this album in 1986. It was another soundtrack, but I consider it a standalone album, just like Purple Rain. Like, you can love Parade without investing in Under the Cherry Moon, the movie, in my opinion. And he lost the colorful psychedelics for a very, very sleek black and white look across this project. The movie itself was also in black and white. And I think it's an exquisite, iconic album cover. And when I was reading Dwayne's book, I remember them talking about how I feel like they alluded that Parade was a little bit of a commercial disappointment. Kiss, of course, was a huge single. But this is where I jumped on board with Prince. Kiss came out, but when Mountains came out, that's when I started buying Prince, was that second single. So I don't remember this album being a disappointment. I remember it being huge at the time. Kiss was all over the place. So I don't know if history was rewritten or if I experienced things wrong, but in my opinion, this was a huge album.
Well, the movie was financially it was a failure financially. The album itself, the thing about this album is that, yes, Around the World in a Day came out between this one and Purple Rain. However, because Purple Rain was still being promoted by Warner Brothers, Around the World in a Day mostly slipped under the radar. So to a lot of the public, this album was kind of the follow-up to Purple Rain. And if you compare the sales numbers, you know, one is in the millions and the other one's like a few 100,000. Right. And yeah, it's like, you're just going to look at the numbers and be like, well, that album must suck. You know, and that's not even listening to it. You can just look at numbers and make those assumptions. But that, what I just said.
Even you can also look at chart positions too. They were very different. On the pop charts, the Hot 100, a lot of the singles that he released after, like Girls and Boys, Another Lover Hole in Your Head, those things did not chart on the top 100. They did chart on the R&B. And so if you were a kid like me and you were watching back in the day when BET had Video Soul on, they played all those videos from this album, and it would be like number one in their weekly top 20. I don't think there was a song that was released from this album that wasn't number one on Video Soul.
I'm looking right now, and it was number 3 on the US Billboard 200.
Okay.
And it was 2 on the top R&B albums.
Okay. Now, I do remember Around the World in a Day. I remember Raspberry Beret being huge and everywhere. So
Mhm.
if the album kind of slipped under the radar, Raspberry Beret and Pop Life are both very present on the radio. And I just remember hearing
That's
those
true.
everywhere.
That's true with those. But if you look at the numbers of sales on that album, they're much lower than either of the other two.
Now, how does Around the World in a Day compare to like Controversy sales wise?
I mean, I can look it up.
I'm curious of like, you know,
Controversy was a platinum album, I believe.
yeah, wasn't that his first platinum album?
Well, it made
Let's see.
Yeah, because the Prince album went gold, I think. Maybe.
It's interesting because I'm sure we all agree that like numbers and sales don't really mean shit, but it's still interesting to see where it fell in the pop culture spectrum at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, so apparently, Around the World in a Day did go to the number one in the Billboard charts, 200. And
Yeah.
Controversy, the highest they got on the US Billboard 200 was 21.
Oh shit!
What were the numbers though in terms of sales?
That I don't know.
Because Around the World in a Day going to number one, the album going to number one, it really was just riding the coattails of Purple Rain.
Right.
Yep.
Parade was 1 million copies sold.
And I remember listening to it Around the World in a Day last month. There's a good handful of songs I really don't like from that album, as we remember from last month's discussion. Like the ladder just goes on.
That's why I
on,
didn't join.
on and on. Like, and then that Temptation. Now, Melissa, you like all those songs, right?
I do.
Oh. All right, so
do I, by the way. Yeah.
Oh.
I do too. I like Temptation.
Oh. Okay. The legend is, so we're going to get to the album that we're talking about this month, Parade. The legend is that Prince went to the studio, sat behind the drum kit, and did the drum tracks for the first 4 songs right in a row. Can anyone validate that story, or am I making things up?
Susan Rogers had said that's what happened.
Right down to the tempo changes and everything. Like he just went in and did Christopher Tracy's Parade, which was originally called Little Wendy's Parade, correct?
Mm-hmm.
New Position, I Wonder You, and Under the Cherry Moon is the suite of the first 4 songs. So before we go to the songs, how do you guys feel about the Parade album cover?
That is my favorite album cover. It's my favorite album cover of Prince. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I love it.
Iconic.
I have both of those shirts. I'm just not wearing mine. But I have it in white and black. But honestly, I think that it's a dope cover. Like they picked a really good shot. I've gotten to see like all of the outtakes and stuff of that photo shoot, and they really did hone in on like the 4 or 5 best ones to present that album and the singles with. So most definitely.
Yeah.
And of course, you remember if you had the LP, it had the text on each side, and it was a gatefold that did one of these bad boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My favorite part about him taking his shirt off like that is that it's reminiscent of the way that he kind of does his arms in Kiss, the video. Like he kind of does his arms kind of the same way like that in it. And it just makes you then think about that picture. So they're kind of connected in your mind.
Yeah. It's a good point.
All right. Well, any thoughts on the album cover before we move on to track 1?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's sexy.
It really
it's sexy.
Is nice. It's
It
really
is.
a nice piece of work. Yeah.
I think my only critique of the cover would be just that the typeface is just like, it's like nothing. Like, you know, it's like Prince and the Revolution Parade, and it's the soundtrack from, and it's just like so, like you could pick this up and not even really even know what it was, because the font and the writing on it is just, I don't know.
Don't they use slashes between things? If I remember
Yeah,
right?
it's just Prince and the Revolution / Parade. Like it's not saying like this is Parade. You know, it's like they were like, who cares what the name of this album is?
See, I kind of did like the back to basics after the last one was so like floofy. Like it's just very stark.
Yeah.
And the R is not even with the revolution.
The what?
The R in revolution's not even with the rest of the word.
Oh,
But
Oh, wow. Oh, interesting.
So at least that's what I'm seeing right now.
and we also had to mention one more thing before we go into music, that Prince had debuted a new look for this album. Gone was the Purple Rain hair. Gone was the Around the World in a Day hair. And he had this sharp, I don't even know what you call that, but I do feel like this is a very sexy era of Prince. And I'm not one to like kind of get too wet about Prince that way, but on this era I do.
You get stuff
And he wears the Josephine Baker finger waves too, which look good on him. And actually, that was Jill's uncle that did his hair.
Oh, that's right.
Earl
All right.
Jones.
I think they did what they could with his hair. Because I feel like he wanted a certain look, but he also didn't want to cut it. Because like there's a like in the movie, it's like slicked back, and I'm like, if he had taken 2 inches off of it, that could have looked really, really good. You know, it's like, but he was like, no, I'm not getting a haircut.
I don't think he intended on getting his hair cut, because Steve Park told this story in his book that Prince, like during somewhere between Purple Rain and Around the World in a Day, had his hair dyed blonde and his hair was breaking off. And that's why he has that odd cut in Raspberry Beret, because that's all that Earl could do with it.
And on the cover of Around the World in a Day, his hair is painted as blonde, right?
Yeah.
I wish there were
They
pictures of
they
this.
dyed it back because apparently the blonde was not working for him.
I want to see this.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I've never seen that.
And I will say a little preview, we're a couple months ahead, but ooh, that graffiti bridge hair. I don't even want to talk about that.
I love that hair.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like an amazing hairstyle. What are you talking about?
oh. Love come quick. Love come in a hurry.
One of his extensions fell out on the set. That's all I have to say.
Oh, all right. Well, the album opens up with a track called Christopher Tracy's Parade, which Christopher Tracy was the character in Under the Cherry Moon. But, you know, you really, like I said, you can listen to the album independently without the movie and still love it. This is such a whimsical, breezy album opener. I love this song. I feel like listening to it, a lot of, you know, some of Prince's stuff sounds, you put it on, you're like, oh, that's from the 80s. I feel like a lot of songs on this album are very timeless. Like, when you put on Christopher Tracy's Parade, you're not going to be like, that's from the 80s. I feel like that could be today or any day, in my opinion. What do y'all think of this song?
I feel like this song kind of fits with Around the World in a Day. It kind of has that same kind of sound when you're coming into the album. It's like the new album, but it's still a little bit of the old. I don't know.
No, I agree with that.
It wasn't my favorite song on the album, but it's not bad. I still love it.
The thing I like about this song, though, is that the bass line is so deep under everything else that you really have to listen to it, like listen to hear it. And I like that because it's actually very deep, and there are all these intricate notes that you, if you're just like listening, not paying attention to it, but if you only listen for the bass line, it's got some really intricate notes in there. And I think that that works with the drum beat and the drum pace. I think of this song as like, it's Prince like being the Pied Piper, wanting all the village people in France to follow him to where, you know, the fun is.
So in true Prince style, it's very complex.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's layered with all kinds of stuff. So it's wonderful. But yeah, totally Pied Piper. Nice, great.
Yeah, I think this song, I think my favorite of those layers is probably the strings. I really enjoy the strings.
Is it Claire Fisher?
I think all of the strings, at least definitely in the 80s, were Claire Fisher.
Okay. Cool.
Except for Around the World in a Day. That was Lisa.
Okay. But yeah, so I definitely enjoyed the strings in the song. I think I probably would have to push back a little bit on what you said earlier, which was that it can be enjoyed by itself without the enjoyment of the movie, because this one, like Purple Rain, for instance, felt like these are some amazing songs. Now let's go make a movie.
Right.
And this album is like, we have a movie, write some songs for the movie. I feel like each of these songs is exactly how long it needs to be utilized in the movie. And I think that this song right here is actually a really good example of that, because we hear almost the whole song in the movie. And where the lyrics stop in the song is where he didn't need to be singing anymore for the movie, and then it just kind of trailed off, So yes, you can enjoy it without the movie, but if you've watched the movie and you listen to the album, you understand why it's as short as it is, and why some of the songs seem to kind of petter out after a second, because it's like, oh, we didn't need that song anymore at that moment.
You see, as far as like music wise, I kind of look at Christopher Tracy not as a character from the movie, but another character in a Prince song, kind of like Dorothy Parker or Cynthia from Starfish and Coffee. So I had this album for many years before I saw the movie, so he always kind of just existed to me as another character in the Prince universe.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Well, he starts this album talking about Christopher Tracy, and then he ends it talking about Christopher Tracy. So like on bookends. And I think I can't listen to this song without seeing that scene in the movie.
Exactly. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to rewatch. I watched it back in the 80s, and I don't remember it being as bad as some people said it was. I remember it being as bad as Graffiti Bridge.
I love it.
Oh, no, it's a good movie.
No, it's good.
I remember that, he filmed it in black and white and was definitely going for a different feel than Purple Rain, which good for him.
Yeah.
And I also remember like my two number ones. Prince was out with Under the Cherry Moon, and Madonna was out with Shanghai Surprise at the same time. So
I feel like it's you have to go into the movie with, I would say, with no expectation. If you're going into it thinking it's going to be like Purple Rain, where it's wall-to-wall music, it's not really that. But if you go into it ready for some fun, witty, kind of conversational humor, then and a love story, then I think you'll enjoy yourself. But I think people build up the expectation of a movie when you say like, oh, it's a Prince movie. They go, oh my God, it's a Prince movie. Oh, well, I just can't wait for the rockin' jams in this. And it's just like, actually, the whole album's French themed. So sorry, you're not going to get any of those.
So who's all doing the lead vocals on the song? Does he have a whole group singing? Because it's not just Prince. Is it?
No, it's Susanna, Wendy, Lisa. I'm not sure if Sheila's in that. And I don't know that Jill is, because Jill was working on her album at the time.
Right. That's what I should.
I was going to say, and we should also probably point out that John L. Nelson, his dad, got the co-writing credit on that one.
Oh, right. And did he co-write anything else with Prince? And there were a couple others that he did, right?
He gave it on Under the Cherry Moon, too, because I'm looking at the credits right now.
Okay. Was there something on Around the World in a Day that he co-wrote, if I remember right?
Yeah.
The latter, if I recall.
But there's always been, excuse the siren in the back, there's always been that speculation that Prince just gave him writing credit, not that he actually did the writing.
Right. I heard that.
I've also heard that, yes.
Just to give some royalties to Dad. All right. Well, any other thoughts on Christopher Tracy's Parade? I wonder if a version is it.
I can tell you.
Oh, who's in the background?
Wendy and Lisa.
And Susanna.
Okay.
I think interesting that he had French horn on here. He had all these people playing French horn on this song.
I will say for from Prince's earlier albums, maybe even up through like Love Sexy, I did love the female voices that he would have later on his albums. Because I feel on some of his later albums, he kind of went more for soul singers, which they sounded good and maybe were technically better singers. But I kind of like some of the shitty singers on like the Apollonias. Like she did add like a certain charm and aesthetic to the Prince universe that I love. Like I think it really worked.
Damn,
So-
you really shitting on Apollonia this one, huh?
We love Apollonia.
Well, that's the first thing on record that he said. All the other stuff was before we hit record.
All right, let's move on to the second track. So, New Position. I remember hearing the song for the first time, and it's funky as hell.
Yeah.
Very James Brown.
You had the steel drums, which are probably like was a keyboard patch, right? Or was it actually a steel drum?
I think that might have been a keyboard.
Okay. Because wasn't he using the Fairlight a lot back then? Especially when he moved on from this to Sign of the Times. Yeah, I don't know. I love this song. What do y'all think? What are your thoughts on this one? I don't have a lot to say about it, just that I love it.
I like the way that it kind of like you hear that last cymbal sound at the end of Christopher Tracy's parade, and then this starts, and it's just the drums, and I think it's a fun song. It's like a happy, fun song, but it also gives me James Brown feels.
I like the honey.
I love the way it comes in with the drums too. It's just like funky. It's just draws you in, and then the topic. Of course, I was in high school at this point, so like New Position. Oh, what?
Well, if funny enough, I actually was on another podcast called Press Rewind, where they go through Prince lyrics and stuff, and kind of breaking down the lyrics. You could take it in either very straightforward, hey, we need to try new positions, or if you actually like read the lyrics and stuff, and like we need to go fishing in the river of life, and like it could be about making an actual change in your life.
Sure.
And not necessarily, but that's Prince. Like everything's got a double meaning to it,
The spiritual and the sexual.
Yeah. But this one's definitely, I would say, if not my like very favorite, it's probably my second favorite after Mountains, because I really, really love New Position. It's just super funky. Always makes me want to. I do air drums to it. I'm always hitting something. It goes.
Right.
You have to hit that. You have to hit the cowbell on something.
If it was longer, it wouldn't work.
And I think that is it. Yeah, because if it was longer, it would have been like, oh, well, I guess we'll keep getting into the new position, I guess. But
right.
No, I think its shortness actually helps the song because it's in and out, like really punchy.
Right.
In and out, really punchy. No, the thing I like about this song too is I think it's like kind of like a lighthearted, fun, sexy, kind of like some of Prince's earlier stuff. Because his last few albums, like the sexuality has been a little bit darker. Like you have Darling Nikki. I don't even know if there's anything. I guess Temptation was sexual on Around the World in a Day. And even like 1999,
Tambourine.
International
Tambourine,
I
International
was gonna
Lover.
say Tambourine was a pretty fun kind of,
Mhm.
the thing too about
Yeah.
Prince is honestly like his first, not his first albums, but basically the early 80s albums from Prince were all, this woman is doing me wrong. And like, like almost every song is, you're driving me crazy, but I can't quit you, so I actually liked the post, like the second half of the 80s where the songs were like, this one's just kind of fun. Like this, let's do something different. As opposed to, like Automatic is one of my all-time favorite Prince songs, but like listen to the lyrics and it's just like, wow, like that's a dark song.
Yeah.
I think the other thing about this song too is that again it fits with the movie, and it fits with that scene where Mary Sharon is running down the stairs in her birthday suit and the towel, and then she goes and she plays the drums.
I'd go as far as saying that the song is a little bit joyful.
Yeah, I think the steel drums help that one. The steel pan, it just. I mean, I don't know. You hear it and you're just you're like, it's island time, and it's great. It's just that's how I feel. So yeah, it's just a happy sound.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right. Melissa, what do you think of this one?
Oh, I love this song. Yeah, I was just saying, I love how the drums come in. It's
Oh, that's
funky.
right.
Get up, want to dance, and
Yeah, I'd love to hear this out at a club. I would definitely get out there for the whole 2 minutes and probably be out of breath after 2 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is a perfect length for like my old ass. Like, let me get out and I'll dance for two strong dancing minutes,
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna go sit back down.
All right, so this song winds down and goes into something a little bit mysterious with our friend Wendy singing the lead vocals. And when I was a kid, I don't know why. I don't know if does it say it in the credits that it's Wendy singing, or did we just find that out like later
No,
on?
it does.
It does. I always thought the song was. This one's like a minute and a half long, right?
Yeah, like 131.
That's like
or something
stupid short.
Yeah, I love it though. What do y'all think of "I Wonder You"?
I love it, and it's actually my favorite song on this album. And I can play it even though it's Wendy. But have you heard his version?
No.
His version's on YouTube. Because he actually did a co-lead vocal with Wendy. You can see why he took himself out and put himself underneath her voice when you listen to him sing it with her. But the lyrics are very simple and they're repetitive. And if I'm not mistaken, Lisa told a story where they were on tour overseas, and a young lady who didn't speak any English very well just sent him a note that says, how do you say it? I wonder you. And then he just, Prince being Prince, turned it into a song.
Yes, he did. Well, it says here in the credit that he gave him, it just says lead vocals Prince. It doesn't even say Wendy on here.
Yeah, that's what I thought in the original credits, like on the vinyl. I'm sure.
Actually,
I don't think he credits her, but I think the thing is that it was easy to determine it was Wendy because everybody knew Lisa's voice from other songs like Head and 1999.
The place I'm looking at has Wendy as lead and Lisa backing.
Yeah, it's on Wikipedia. It does where it lists the personnel. It does have her as lead on these.
Now, remember at the time, this was the first time that we would have heard Lisa singing a lead vocal because they hadn't released any of their solo albums yet, and we'd only heard Wendy as a backup. So this was her first time kind of stepping up to the microphone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and if that's the case, like this is not the song that would have gotten me to buy her out. I mean, it's it's How You Say I Wonder You. I mean, and it's very low, and it's like it's not she's not doing a ton vocally with the song. It's not like I would have been like, whoa, I need to hear more of that. I think the song is good and she does a good job, but I like their album, by the way. I have listened to Lisa and Wendy. I'm just saying that song is not the one that would have made me go buy their album.
You know what song didn't make me buy their album though? Waterfall. That's such a damn good song.
That's a dope song.
I actually love all their albums. Like they're all pretty good. But that's another podcast for another day.
It is.
One of the things you notice here though is that for them being identical twins, how different Wendy and Susanna's voices are.
Yeah.
Go back to the Family album, you listen to Susanna versus how Wendy sings these songs.
I agree with that, definitely.
Well, I feel like we just discussed I Wonder You longer than the song itself.
I mean, that's very easy to do. So,
of course, on our Joni Mitchell podcast, even the longest Joni Mitchell song we probably talked about like 4 times as long as the actual song, which I love.
Paprika Plains.
Yep. All right. Well, do we have any thoughts on I Wonder?
One more thing about this. When you go on YouTube and you listen, you hear it without the strings.
Oh, okay.
It's his dry vocal without the strings. So it has a different sound.
So you feel like he made the right choice?
No, I think the strings were necessary because it's not as dark and mysterious without the strings.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
I
right.
could hear that. The strings add a lighter touch to the song and make it fall more in line with the whimsical nature of the song so far. If you take those strings off, yeah, I think it's gonna sound super dark. Yeah.
It's interesting, the album's called Parade, and this really so far does feel like a parade. A little fun, a little joy, a little wildness, a little mysteriousness.
It's weird how it comes in with the laughter, like all the different people laughing at the beginning. Like, what was that about?
Yeah, it
Well,
is
remember
weird.
they're at the party when it's like it fits the movie because remember they're at the party during New Position
Mhm.
Mhm.
and all the guests are there after Mary, does her little thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch it again to see.
Well, and I Wonder You is actually during the scene with the phone call. The What
Yeah.
are you thinking about phone call? Sex while I'm eating toast.
I was just trying to think. I was like, why do I feel like I've seen Susanna Melvoin other than like I've never gone. Sadly, I've never been able to see Prince live. But I was like, I know I've seen Susanna Melvoin sing, and I remembered why because she was also the backing artist, backing vocalist for Roger Waters.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And she co-wrote Candy Perfume Girl on Madonna's Ray of Light also.
Okay. Well, she was also married to his he's still his guitarist, Doyle Bramhall II.
Okay.
So she's not married to him
divorced,
anymore, but
right?
they were married together.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, I know that there's a connection from Susanna to someone that I've seen, and that's because I've seen her. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So any other thoughts on I Wonder You before we move on? The next song is the title track of the movie, Under the Cherry Moon. And everyone on the podcast knows that I'm the one that just doesn't love the Prince ballads as much as everyone else. But
It's not my favorite ballad.
not your favorite ballad?
Yeah, of his. Like, there's way better ballads. This is kind of like morbid a little bit. Like,
that's what I
talking
love
about death.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I like it because it does fall into the romanticism of the film.
Yeah.
And I think it was necessary to have a song on the album that kind of captured that kind of old, like 30s, 40s film kind of song. It's like if you think about some of these older black and white films, and Jill says that he was inspired a lot by those black and white films when he was doing this album. Mm-hmm. And so just the way the strings are on that and the piano's played so lightly and very airy, and I think it fits the whole context of the project.
I would 100% agree with what Aisha just said. I mean, and especially in the piano playing, like the way that it goes, and again, it's playing into the musical kind of feel of the album itself. I mean, it feels more upbeat, like it's a ballad, but it's not really a slow ballad. It's kind of like a mid-tempo ballad. It's not overly sappy. It is more romantic than it is like, baby, I want you back or anything like that. I don't know. I think it's a wildly successful song on the album. I really, really like it. So.
Well, this is my favorite song on the album. And so what we're hearing is a Baroque style of playing. Mm-hmm. And where it's very ornamental, but it still has that pop, right? And I think even the title, it lends itself to those old noir kind of, films because you can just see it. It's like, what I'm really surprised is like they didn't do like a, kind of Black Dahlia sort of thing, or where they have, just the red moon, but certainly this song to me, just the different sound, the fact that it is so ornamented, but yet you're right, it's not like a slow ballad. It's kind of a torchy song in the middle, a little bit of it, and it turns it on its head. You know, it is morbid. It is different, you know. The imagery is huge. I mean, he is text painting all over the place, you know, and it's so dramatic, and I love it. You know, it's my favorite like thing about it, you know, because I want to do a cover of this song so bad. I
want to hear you sing this. Like,
I want to do a cover so bad, and I like almost want to do a video, and I'm wearing like, you know, I have to lose weight for this first, but like the long slinky dress with like a freaking boa, and just be like, duh, you know, like that's the imagery that I get, you know, where I'm just like the femme fatale. And I think even though he is singing it, he is this femme fatale in this way, you know, and it's just it's so vampy, and I freaking love it.
Yeah. It's also very, gives me the Romeo and Juliet kind of feel, because you think about these two star-crossed lovers, and her father doesn't think that he's good enough for his daughter, and it's very much Romeo and Juliet, very much West Side Story.
See, the thing I did not like about the song is the same thing that I didn't like about Condition of the Heart from the last album, is he does this thing with the falsetto where he's like, and that's why I want to hear Jahida sing this song, because I think I would enjoy it better without Prince's vocal. I hate to say.
Oh my gosh.
You mean where he goes, or thrill me soon, like that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of him poking fun at himself, you know?
Okay.
And being overly dramatic and kind of.
Exactly. I think that's a big, because he doesn't do that often, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe me being a drama queen myself have failed to recognize the irony and the drama of it. So between your explanation and your guys' reselling this to me, I'm going to listen to it tomorrow and probably think it's the best thing in the world, because I've been reading it wrong all these years.
You gotta imagine, you know what it is? Like Aisha was saying, you have to imagine a movie like All About Eve, you know, or like something with Gloria Swanson, how they're so like, you know, it is time type of thing. Like that is, like you said, that's what his influence was. And you could hear it a million times, you know what I mean? It is so imbued into the song. And, yeah, man, like Joan Crawford, you know, is all over this. You know,
yeah, exactly.
That's exactly. It's, you know, it's all about that. Have you ever seen the movie The Women? Because if you haven't, this is what I'm talking about. This every time I hear this song, it makes me think of things like that movie, where it's just so, and I love that stuff. So it's just, it's so over the top, and it's so like it's ridiculous. It was George Cukor, or however you say his last name, but it's from 1931, and it's got all these. It's got Joan Crawford, it's got Rosalind Russell, it's got all these women, and it's just freaking hilarious and awesome. So yeah, that's what I think of when I hear this song, and I'm like, that's why I want to do it so bad, because I want to just vamp it up, because I'm so the opposite of that.
Okay, sold. I'm in. All right. Well, do we have any other thoughts on Under the Cherry Moon before we move on?
I also like the fact that it's whereas the opposite of Christopher Tracy's Parade, it's not complicated really.
Mm-hmm.
The instrumentation's pretty bare for Prince standards, you know, and but it works. You know, it does seem a little more intimate in that way.
Though I really do enjoy the piano, the solo in the middle.
Yeah.
The kind of trickling down, almost like it's rain. I dig the instrumentation, mostly the piano in this song. I really, really love.
Oh, I'm having so much fun talking about Parade, y'all. All right, so next is a sizzling jam, Girls and Boys, which I always loved in the credits. That isn't it like Susanna and Sheila are singing on one side? They have two different people singing on different sides of the speaker. And I used to listen to one side of the headphones, then the other to see if the voices sound
Yeah.
different?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it is Susanna and Sheila on one and like Prince and Lisa in the other.
And I just thought that was so cool. I love this song.
It's the
I do too.
Sheila, Wendy, Lisa, and Susanna.
Okay.
It's everybody. Everybody
My
was
favorite
there.
song on the album. This is by far my favorite song.
Really?
Yes.
I'm gonna have
I
to
just
agree.
love it. It's like funky. It's got the French in it. I was in French class at the time. So it's just like the whole Paris thing is like, just love it.
I love
Has
the
that-
video.
The Muted Trumpet, which I love.
Mm. I play trumpet as well.
Did you ever play along with this song?
No, I've
Is that a trumpet or am I wrong? Do I have the wrong instrument?
um
I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna put
If
myself.
it was
Yeah,
Eric,
but
it might have been a muted saxophone. Not this. The saxophone. There's a saxophone that looks like a clarinet that Eric played.
I think I love him.
But if it was trumpet, then that would be Atlanta Bliss playing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the thing that goes? Wah, wah?
Yeah.
Oh. You mean he doesn't just do that with his mouth?
Maybe.
Aisha's like, really?
no, there's like there's
I want to say it's.
players.
I want to say it's the not a bass saxophone. It's another kind of saxophone that Eric has.
Hold on, I'm
But
gonna
it
pause.
looks like-
I'm gonna pause for 1 second.
It might have been the trombone that you're hearing. I don't know.
It would make sense because of the slide.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
But whatever it is muted. That's the whole
Yeah.
difference of it is that I like the muted factor of it.
I felt like there were moments on Around the World in a Day where it's like we're experimenting now. Like it was kind of weighty, but this album just feels so effortless to me. Like, you know, they're trying out some different things, but it just feels breezy and fun and organic to me. It doesn't feel forced at all.
I think what you just said right there might be the reason why Girls and Boys is not necessarily one of my faves on here. It's because I think even just on this album leading up to this song, it seems so emblematic of this album. It was creating this certain theme, and then it's just like, oh, this is just like Prince decided to get funky. This is a Prince song, you know, like in the middle of all these very like texturized, very thematic songs. It's just like, oh yeah, now we're just gonna get funky real quick, and
See,
then
I feel like
we'll move
I
on.
love that about
We won't be funky later, but this song we gonna be funky. You know,
I love that about it though, that it's just thrown in there after, you know, you get through the first four songs. And they're just like so you know, they're all really connected by that one drum beat that he's been playing since Christopher Tracy's Parade. And then and it's like you're in this lull sense, romantic sense, kind of calm, and then it's like, oh wow.
See, I felt like that.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry, I keep
Go ahead.
interrupting. No, I was gonna say again, kind of what Jeremy said though, was just that at the same time though, it seems like an effortless song, kind of almost like he's not putting that much effort into this song to me.
I like that.
You know, so it kind of throws it off for me. Like it's a good song, but like almost every other Prince song, like you could tell he was doing this or he was trying that or he was doing that. This is just like put a beat on and put a scratch guitar and I'm just gonna sing and it'll be fun.
See, I felt that trombone considered the trombone continued the exotic flair from the first four songs. So I did kind of feel like it did continue with the theme. European kind of worldly sounds. Because this song to me does not sound American. Like I feel like there's still that kind of Paris kind of France thing. They're speaking French too. What are they saying there?
Okay.
You are so beautiful. Vous êtes très belle. What else?
and then Girls and Boys.
What is her name? Oh gosh. The costume designer who did the French part.
That's Marie France.
I think that was her.
Because I mean, that's the name listed
Yeah.
as vocals on track 5.
Yeah,
I don't know who she
if I'm not
is, so I was
mistaken, I
just
think-
assuming that's her.
I believe she was like the designer,
Mm.
the costume designer for the film.
Right.
But yeah, I saw a translation of it before, and it was pretty insignificant.
So I looked it up. Apparently, the sound that we're hearing, that wow wow, is a synth.
Oh, really?
Synth?
Okay.
It's just a synth.
Well, so much for the European flair. But, you know, I bet the steel drums were a synth too in new position. So let's just pretend that he's rolling in all these instruments, or band members of his that introduced him to new instruments were rolling them in.
Of course.
You know what I have? I have a 12-inch of Girls and Boys with a backside of Erotic City
Really?
Oh,
from France.
that would be awesome.
Cool.
See, this like continued for me. It continued the theme of the movie with the parrot, or with the speaking French, and then brought in Paris, which I loved, and they're kissing on the steps of Versailles. It's like a romantic kind of story in this funky song.
Yeah, I'm definitely still getting European vibes here.
Yeah,
He's telling the story of their relationship, really, kind of in the song.
yeah.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on Girls and Boys? All right. Well, Sheila,
No, I still think that it's like it feeds more into the whole thing of like, this song really, really works, not necessarily on the album, but it works in its placement on the album because it's the placement of it in the movie, and it works really, really well in the movie. So again, this song, not necessarily that great. Like, it's not my favorite one on the album. In the movie, though, it's like larger than life, and it's this amazing, huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
see, I'll take Girls and Boys over anything post 1992.
Blasphemous.
I know. There goes with the thumbs down on my YouTube. All right.
Well, I will say, I do also, I like the fact that, he's flirting again with the whole, with like his androgynous side, right? With the lyrics a little bit, where he's saying she had the cutest ass, he did too.
Oh, he did too. I just caught that for the first time.
But I always thought that he's telling the story about the female and a male, but speaking in the third person.
But that's what I mean. He's still, to me, it's still him in a way flirting with this, with his androgynous like kind of persona.
But see, Prince also flattered himself on having this major behind. So that's why I kind of like,
He was not wrong.
right.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of like, that's how I've always taken
To bounce a quarter off
well,
that thing.
yeah, I did too.
Let's not
But
forget
honestly-
the Get Off MTV Awards performance.
Yeah.
I just remember every time anybody brings up Prince's ass, I just think about the musicology tour when he's dancing up there, and he's just like, I ain't got no ass. Somebody with ass come up here and do this dance. and then like Chance Howard got up there and did the dance. He's like, yeah, see, he's got an ass. I ain't got no ass. See, it was hilarious.
Thank God it wasn't during then when because didn't he have like Kim Kardashian come up at one point, and she like
she
just
just
like
stood
was
there
just
like
a hot mess, and he was just like, girl, get your ass off here. Because she was
What a shame Prince isn't still alive, because Madonna, with her new ass that she's gotten.
Have
Oh
you seen
my
the video
God.
of Madonna on the limousine?
Wait, what?
Oh, I sure did. Yes. Her twerking on the side of the. Yep.
Of the limo.
Melissa, are you not familiar with this Madonna's new app?
No.
I'm not either.
You gotta Google that.
Hold on, I'm gonna go Google it.
I almost feel like I
'Cause I'm like-
shouldn't though. I feel like I'm better not knowing.
You might be better not knowing.
Like you can
Now
tell.
I gotta go look.
You
And
know,
I'm doing my Madonna podcast tomorrow night for Hard Candy, so that's when it starts getting a little questionable with Madonna.
Yeah. I will. You know what I will say? I will say that "Bitch I'm Madonna." That beat is freaking. That is a damn good beat. Like it's like I don't necessarily like what she did with the song, but like the music part of it is amazing.
It is good.
I see. That doesn't even look real.
It's not.
That's what they're saying.
That was not from Squats.
Oh my God.
Cheap like
Oh,
that.
look at everyone's reaction. I can't.
Look at how you.
Oh,
It's like they put cement in her ass.
I am so glad I did not go and look. I'm so happy.
Lord, go look.
No, I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good.
Back
Oh
to
my
parade.
God.
Sheila E. shows up with a cowbell. Oh,
I saw a side view.
Oh!
At first I saw the back view. Now I saw the side view. Now I saw the side view.
That's what I
Oh
saw.
my God.
This
oh,
So I love Sheila E.
yes. Sheila E. shows up with a cowbell for "Life Can Be So Nice," and I've always loved this song. I just feel like it's another whimsical. It almost has like a circus feel with that kind of. It's almost like a cantaloupe organ. Is that what it's called?
yeah.
And the flute.
The
Eric
flute.
playing the flute.
Is that what it is, Eric? Okay.
You know what I like? To me, I describe this song as like organized chaos because all the instruments thrown in there, like they're so loud and they're so just there, and it sounds very chaotic, but like somewhere in there, there's structure.
And Sheila's going to town on that cowbell right there.
Well, I mean, it's her job. She's like, I got one thing to do. I'm gonna go real
Did she
hard.
just do the cowbell?
I think so. Hold up. God, by the way, that side view is.
Because I don't.
Cowbell. Yeah, cowbells
I'm not
on
100%
6.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm
No,
not.
no, she did
100% sure.
cowbells and drums.
That's
it
what I
says.
thought. Because I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
that's
Yeah.
not Bobby Z's drumming.
You know, the song saying "Life Can Be So Nice," and the song feels like that. Like when life feels good, it feels like this song feels to me. Which I put
Like
this
a
on when I
positive-
want to feel good.
So
vibe.
the Revolution was with Prince, and they worked on Girls and Boys, Mountains, and Another Lover, Hole in Your Head.
Okay.
So those are the 3 songs that Dr. Fink, Brown Mark, and Bobby Z are on.
Okay.
And then the rest of them, they're not on there.
Interesting.
And is this another one? Who's all singing on this one? A lot of people, right?
Let's
think
see.
it's-
Yep, Wendy, Lisa, and Wendy and Lisa. I don't see anybody else with vocals
Okay.
on this song. Prince and then Wendy and Lisa.
Cool.
I like the song. Again, it felt like its placement in the movie is this is the song he's listening to while he's waiting for somebody.
Right.
You know, and it's like it kind of feels like that because it's like it doesn't feel like this song is like what's the word, like consequential. It feels like it's like we need a song here. It should be upbeat because the next one's going to be a piano solo. I dig the song. I like I like it for its kind of silly lyrics about scrambled eggs and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I like it that it's not a serious song. I like that aspect of it. So don't take that as an insult. But yeah, I dig that. I think that the organized chaos, I didn't hear much of like the organization. I felt that way with this one and Another Lover, Hole in Your Head. Like, I feel like both of those songs might have benefited from the shorter duration that New Position benefited from. I felt like they go to a certain point and I'm digging them, and then they just start kind of trailing off and going in a million different directions. But the songs are good. I mean, I also like Life Could Be So Nice because it's the nice, but the niece because they're in Paris and that thing.
I
You
think
know.
the flute kind of pulls everything together and organizes and serves as an organization because it is the one constant throughout.
And it's only 3 minutes and 12 seconds, by the way, Aloy.
Well, but I'm saying, but New Position was a
12
minute.
seconds
It,
too
it was
long.
two. It was 2 minutes long.
Right.
They could have
I
knocked
think
off
it's
30
12 seconds
seconds, and it
long.
would have been great.
Yeah, I do agree with that. You could have cut out 12 seconds.
Can you picture this song on any other Prince album besides this Parade? Because I kind of can't.
No.
Actually, I could picture it as a B-side on Purple Rain.
Really?
It gives me Darling Nikki feels.
Darling
For-
Nikki?
At the very end of Darling Nikki is like this song throughout.
I could have seen it on Around the World in a Day. I could have seen it on there.
That's what I was thinking. More around the world.
Like replace Tambourine with this one, and like it would have been dope.
I feel like there were so many tuneless songs on Around the World in a Day that this song's almost like too tuneful for it in a way.
This sounds like he was just getting some frustration out. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like pent up energy. And to think about, the other thing you have to think about is what was going on with him at that time when he was in Paris. You know, he'd sent Susanna home, and
Right.
you know, all that stuff.
You know what? I have to take back what I just said because Raspberry Beret has one hell of a hook. So,
Okay. You've redeemed yourself.
yeah, someone just thumbs me down. You can undo it. Put it back up. All right. Any thoughts on Life Can Be So Nice before we put the cowbell away? More cowbell? All right. Side one of the album ends with a piano instrumental, Venus de Milo, which was a pretty piano instrumental. I don't have too much to say about it.
Oh, it's pretty.
This is the one that actually makes me think about Joni.
Oh, that's right. So expand on that.
So when I hear it, it reminds me, you know, I hear it, the sax sounds like Wayne Shorter to me, even though I know it's not.
Sure.
And it's got that, you know, kind of, it's like a mix of the second half of Down to You. You know, where she's like, and then so it got that feel to me, but also reminds me a bit of when she did, you know, that whole Both Sides Now into Travelogue kind of time.
Right.
Her stuff was really orchestral, and it's got that sort of feel to it. So I really love it. I feel like this is, you know, and I mean, we'll never know, but I'm sure a lot of people don't ask him about this song, but to me, it's about, you know, or did ask him about this song. I still think of him in the present tense sometimes. And it's about, like, I feel like this is his influence from Joni, you know? I mean, you know, Court Spark was one of his favorite albums because you can tell he's got a lot of influences in there. And in addition to Blue, I mean, I know, did we ever find out what the other song was that he covered from her?
No, I'll look it up and text you it.
Okay.
I feel like it was something off Hissing a Summer Lonzo, like Don't Interrupt the Sour or something out there.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just, to me, it's got that vibe, you know. I don't know. I hear it, and it makes me think of Joni so much. So,
Do you think this is as close?
It's a piano, and then, you know, you have your horn, and Joni definitely did that a lot. So,
Do you think this is as close to Joni as Prince ever got?
No, I would say he's definitely I mean, there are a lot of songs where I would listen to it and say even Joni, like, this would be more Joni. I think like closer, but I think this is definitely, for me, a little bit of a love letter to her.
And it is Prince playing the piano, correct? Not Lisa?
Yeah.
I had to laugh because I thought you were being snarky again, or was that genuinely you asking?
Well, I was just kind of saying for the audience. Yeah. Well,
I
Let me
love this as an instrumental. It's so like peaceful and like, it's just beautiful. I just
Yeah.
love it.
And again, it fits with that scene of the movie where he's walking along the pier right before Jerome and Katie run up to him.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like side
That's
one of the
right.
album.
You know what? Isn't that like I want to be isn't that Honest Man?
What is it?
Honest Man. Isn't that the instrumental for Honest Man?
No, it's that's the instrumental that they use in the movie while he reads the lyrics to Honest Man over
Mhm.
them. But
Right.
yeah, Honest Man obviously
Right.
has different stuff.
Yeah,
to it.
I know. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that. But I wonder if at any point he considered making that this song. You know what I mean?
You know what's really interesting though is that I'm looking at the personnel list right now. It doesn't have. I'm guessing this is Claire Fisher, like with the horns, because it doesn't have any like the saxophone player. Eric Leeds is not credited on this song.
Yeah, it just says Claire Fisher orchestral arrangement. So anytime you hear anything, it's him.
That sounds like a French horn, actually.
I got out my book here so I can see if I can fish around and find what the 2 Joni Mitchell songs are. I don't know how I'm going to find that in all these
The
pages.
index?
Is there an index? Oh, there sure is. Oh, shit. All right.
Whoa.
Well, do we have any other thoughts on Venus de Milo, or is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. But I think that the thing for me about this song is that you put it up against the other instrumental that's in the film that didn't make the album, Alexa de Paris.
Right. Which was the
And-
B-side to Mountains, correct?
Yes. And that one, I actually liked Venus de Milo, but I like Alexa de Paris better. Just, I love the guitar in that.
Yeah. And I think Venus de Milo is very pretty. It's a fitting into the first side of the album.
I kind of feel like side 1 is just perfect. I love every song on it. I wouldn't put anything else on there. Yeah, I love it. All right, do y'all want to take a break before side 2 or just jump right into it?
No, we can just, I'm good.
So
We're all good?
Mhm.
All right. So side 2 of the album begins with one of my top 5 favorite Prince songs of all time, probably. I remember this is the song where I started buying Prince's music in 7th grade. I would have been 12 years old. And I remember sitting with a little notebook trying to figure out what the words to Mountains were and writing them down. I'm sure I was dreadfully wrong. But I have the 12-inch single here, which I love this picture also.
I have that too.
And it has a really long version of Mountains on the other side. It's like 20 minutes. And it's awesome. I love it.
I have that one. I have the 45.
Now, reading Dwayne's book here, I believe Wendy and Lisa said they wrote the music to this and brought it to Prince.
Yeah, they also said that on the Prince channel in one of those interviews. They said that they were working on the music and he came through and he was like, hey, what are you playing? And apparently Lisa wrote this when she was like, 14 or 15, I think she said.
Okay.
And then Prince just went and wrote the lyrics.
I love the feel. I love the harpsichord. I think the video's great with the. This is when they started having the expanded revolution, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's
No,
captured
Girls
my.
and Boys was the first video that they had. Yeah.
So what do y'all think of Mountains?
I love
love it.
mountains.
I also love Mountains. And honestly, this is my favorite song on the album. I know that everybody has stated theirs officially. This one would be mine. I do a Prince bracket every year, like a March Madness Prince bracket on my channel. And I had to stop putting Mountains on there because it kept winning. Because it's so good. It's just such it's like there are very few Prince songs that I like more than I like Mountains. Because it's got the funkiness, it's got the horns, it's got his screams on it, it has really awesome falsetto on it. Like it is all over the place in like the best of ways. So the poetry's there. This song has everything going for it.
It's a good opener from if you had like I did when I first got it on vinyl, it's a perfect opening song for the second side. Because you see that the mood is changing. there's a shift in the mood, which actually, I really when you pay attention to even the labels on the sides of there's a white label with the black writing in the red, and then the black label with the white and the red.
Oh,
And
right.
each one kind of, signifies the mood of that side.
Well, I feel like with the soli at the end, the horn soli, it reminded me again. See, I'm like, I've got I don't know, I call it like musical sort of squirrel, where like all of a sudden I hear something and it makes me think of something else, and then I'm just like, oh, okay. So to me, the chord progression with the soli from the horns made me think of "Living for the City" by Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Where it's like ba da 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 da.
Yeah.
Ba da 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 da. And obviously it's not like the same, but it reminded me of that, right? So I hear things and I'm just like, oh, well, maybe, that's where his subtle influences come through, and it's one of those things where it's just a nice little kind of, kind of like a musical Easter egg, so to speak, for me. Maybe nobody else will hear it, but that's how I hear something and I'm like, there it is, so.
I also like the fact that he switches the whole song up at the very ending. And so you hear it's a very short period.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But it's like he introduced almost like a new song within a song. And I love that part as it fades out. And then when you listen to the 12-inch, it just goes on and on.
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
and this is an example of a song that extended version is welcomed. Like I couldn't get enough of this one. Whereas other songs, I was like, they could have cut 30 seconds off of this.
Right.
That I think you could cut more than 30 seconds. Some of the extended versions, I'm like, oh my God, how long does it need to be? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that song it's one of those perfect Prince recordings.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people say they feel it was not a wise choice for the second single. How do you all feel about that? Because I feel like in the book, it kind of alluded that it kind of sidetracked the sales momentum of the album. This is the song that actually sucked me in, so I disagree with that. I'm curious what you all think. I
can't see why. I thought the singles that were released were good.
Mm-hmm.
They chose the best songs to release off this album. There were only 4, and they chose the best ones.
Right.
At least I would say that they chose. I mean, I'm partial to some of them, but I would say they chose the ones that are going to appeal to the masses better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sell well for sure.
I always loved how the video was in color on MTV, but in black and white on the closing credits of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I could
actually shot in color.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I obviously love the song and I know why it jives with me, but I could hear something in it that might not appeal to general radio listener, right? So I mean, I guess I kind of get that. I don't know why it would, because you can release another single pretty quickly. Like it's like, oh, that one's tanking, release the next one. Like you can always recover. But I mean, what the 2 before it were Kiss and Boys and Girls, right?
No, it was Kiss first, then Mountains.
Yep.
Then Girls
it was Kiss, then Mountains. Okay. So see, so I guess that would have been my thing. I probably would have done Kiss and then Boys and Girls and then Mountains, because I feel like if you listen to Girls and Boys, it kind of prepares you for Mountains, as opposed to the other way around.
Right.
To my memory, that's like BET back then would play nonstop Prince, The Time, Vanity 6. Okay. And if I recall correctly, they were playing Girls and Boys, the video, before they were playing Mountains.
I don't even remember the video. What was it, a montage of the movie, or was there?
It had scenes. It had like they're on a cloud. Just
Oh, for
playing
Mountains?
instruments.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Some dancing in heaven because
I remember that one, but-
Tracy's dead.
Was there a video for Girls and Boys?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like it was like an extended version of the scene at the
At the restaurant and the revolution and everything
Revolution's
coming to
there,
the
yeah.
restaurant too, and like all the and it's crazy.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and it's long, and then like they end up like the song ends and Tricky's like, "Nah, we gotta keep going," and they're like, "Nah, we out of here."
And he starts laughing. Prince, that's right, because Prince goes boo.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I think Mountains is amazing. Still love it. It's definitely a song I go to a lot when I'm wanting to hear a Prince song.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Mountains? All right. The next is we're back to the cabaret with a little ditty called "Do You Lie." I don't have too much to say about the song. I don't love it or hate it. I feel like it fits on the album. It's a nice place to go next. How do y'all feel about this one?
I see it as him like just kind of once again being silly with how he's delivering the vocals in this song.
Right.
And it goes back to where it fits in the movie. It's not actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's not in the right place. It would be behind Christopher Tracy's parade, right?
Okay.
What do you mean?
In the movie.
In the movie, this is no. This is the second party. This is for the second party, if I recall, at her house, right?
It was the second party at her house.
Was there not two parties?
No, she only had the one.
Oh, well then, yeah,
party.
this was earlier then. This was earlier in the movie. But we already broke that up though, because Venus de Milo came later in the movie.
Yeah.
And Mountains is at the end. So like
Right.
like the first ones he was staying true to the order, but
Yeah. But I think it fits that scene again. Once again, it's a song that fits the scene. And I think he has Susanna and Wendy, I think, doing the backup and delivering it in a very jazzy, bluesy kind of way, like the Andrews Sisters.
Okay.
So let's see. Says backing vocals for that song is Sandra Francisco.
And who is that?
I do not know who that is, but that is what the name that is listed here.
That's a new member of the Prince universe, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know. That's the vocals. There's no backing vocals or anything. It's just him, I guess, and her.
And I just wanted, as a little side note, I found in the book what the two songs Prince practiced with the Revolution were for Joni Mitchell. A Case of You and Jahida, are you ready for this curveball? Blue Motel Room.
Oh.
I know, isn't that like a head scratcher? Like, oh.
That's actually exactly what she did.
I think it's awesome. Like, obviously, that's a deep cut from probably Joni's best album, in my opinion. One of her best.
I agree. Interesting.
Cool. Okay, I'm present again because I had to find that. It was driving me crazy.
Speaking of deep cut, so I went to go see the Prince For You symphonic tribute thing, and I think that was part of what also it put me off a bit on that one, because they were like, all right, guys, there's going to be some deep cuts and then there's going to be some favorites. So first we're going to start off with the deep cuts, and it was like 6 tracks off of this album. And I was like, that's not deep. Everyone loves this album. Right. Like, what are you saying here?
Love? Right?
What do you think is deep? And then, after that, they did like all the classics, but I'm like, most of the deep cuts were just this album. I was like, okay, I guess. Anyway, back to Do You Lie, though.
I did get those on the background vocals. I got it from Prince Vault. The
Okay.
San Francisco is the young girls speaking French at the beginning.
Mm.
And then the background vocals are Lisa and Wendy.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
This to me is like a super like franche song. You know, it's like I imagine that like I'm in some Parisian cafe and the song is just there.
Right.
And
I think
even if it didn't have the French, it's just got that feel, you know what I mean? The whole orchestral arrangement, you know, it's got like an accordion sound, you know, it's very you know, it just has like I imagine some guy in a corner just playing and you know and stuff. So yeah, this is a very French.
And it feels like it fits perfectly on the album.
Yeah.
And it was just long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a soundtrack album because they were like, we need a song for the party. Here's a song for the party. We're not going to waste a song. Go ahead and throw it on the album is what it feels like to me. However, I actually really like Prince's falsetto in it.
I do too.
You know, so I think he's playing around and he's just like, yeah, this is kind of a little bit even of like, I hate to say it, but maybe a little bit of like a throwaway track. Like we just needed a quick track, you know, just to kind of fill a void. But I think he was like, it's not going to be a completely waste. Now I'm going to sing the hell out of this thing. So I think he did a good job on it, but I would also say it's probably my least favorite on the album.
Oh,
which followed the most favorite one.
I think it's safe to say that this is Prince's most European album.
I think so.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah. I'd give you that since we're specifically saying regional sound, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote to the location he was at.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, you go to Paris and try not to be influenced.
Right.
I will. I'll take up that challenge. I will just go there. and they'll be like, we, and I'll be like, I will not speak your language.
I feel like I'd go to Paris wanting to be Prince, but I'd end up being Lucy and Ethel. They wouldn't let me over the border without my passport.
Passport.
All right. Well, the next song is a song that a few people may have heard. The band Maserati originally was going to record it for their album that was being worked on. Did Brown Mark write the song or Prince wrote the song, right? And then gave it to the band.
Right.
He heard what they were doing with it, and then he stole it back.
Producing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Prince took it back and added a few little things to it. But he kept Maserati's background vocals.
Right. Mm-hmm. And did you talk about that in Dwayne's book? He's like, you know, I actually think I'm going to keep this one. After they spent all that time. But I remember when
they removed the bass line.
Yeah,
Maserati's version had a bass line.
They pulled a When Doves Cry.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone heard the version with the bass line?
Yes.
I haven't.
It does not fit.
It doesn't fit?
Mm-mm. It's like the bass line for When Doves Cry does not fit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're playing two different songs.
Now, I remember the first time I heard Kiss, and I saw the video at my grandma Gloff's house, and Wendy was sitting on the stool playing her guitar. Prince was being really playful, doing some splits. There was a girl behind the screen. I feel like everything about this song, video, performance is perfect. Like, this is just a perfect song and a perfect moment in Prince's career. I think he struck gold with this one. I don't know.
And it really gets a moment in time.
Right.
Yeah. And the 12-inch version is really great because you then have just these tonal, these different tonal changes. Yeah. And also too, there's a part where him and Jill are acting out this skit of this old couple.
Right. I love that. And I will mention at Masquerade in Tampa, Florida, when I moved here in the late 90s, they always played the 12-inch version of Kiss. Like, they played the whole thing.
Yeah, up here at the radio station I listened to always played the 12-inch version.
So, you know, my ass was on that dance floor, like dancing all the way through to minute 8 or whatever.
This is my go-to dance song. Like, when you ask a DJ to play a Prince song and they don't really know, like, just play Kiss. Like, This is it because it gets everybody up dancing. It's a great vibe,
Yeah.
you know.
So my feeling about Kiss is that I think you guys are all correct in that it's a snapshot of this moment in Prince history. And I feel like the problem with that, however, is that like I never really enjoyed Kiss live, like because it has such like the album feel to it that like if you tried to do anything different to it, it just throws off the entire arrangement and the sound and everything.
It was studio magic,
That's the
right?
problem. That's
Yeah.
I think that's what annoys me about the live versions of Kiss is that he always tried to do something different with it. I'm like,
Yeah.
just do the damn song the way it is.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
But yeah, it's one of those songs that like I love it every time I hear it, and I could listen to it a million times. But like whenever he would do it live, I'd be like, eh. And so many people have tried to sing this song.
Tom Jones.
Tom Jones.
And I'm like, no, thank you.
Tom Jones.
You know what? I will even give it to Tom Jones because Tom
I
Jones
won't.
was not trying. Tom Jones wasn't trying to do Prince. Everybody who I hear sing this song besides Tom Jones is trying to get up in their falsetto and stuff. And it's like, I don't even think Prince could get up and hit everything and Kiss exactly right every time after it was recorded, you know, because it's a hard song to
That
sing.
is hard. It is very hard. A lot of his like sort of screaming kind of
Mhm.
like that's hard to recreate, you know.
Yeah.
You really gotta get into it.
I love that part of the song. It's just
I love
like
it too.
Oh, it's
my
amazing.
lip sync, my best lip sync, screaming.
Oh! Now, most
And then
importantly,
that's the way that he says kiss at the end, because it's like,
Yeah.
give us everything. It's like, kiss.
did anyone here besides me actually watch Dynasty? Because I did.
Yeah,
I did not.
I
Oh,
did.
That's why I'm like, it's a moment in time.
I had a dead time.
Watch Desperate Housewives.
is that the new version? You don't have to watch Desperate
Well,
Housewives.
that's
to
what
have
he
an
would
attitude?
say, like in like
Yeah.
the later years.
You don't
He'd
have
say,
to watch-
you don't have to
he
watch
does that.
Desperate Housewives, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now to cross over into one of my other Phonogenics, a similar song from the Stevie Nicks group. I feel like Sarah by Fleetwood Mac is the perfect studio song that didn't translate live. Because sometimes you have these really subtle, perfect studio songs that just don't translate to the stage. So I kind of put Kiss in the same category as Sarah by Fleetwood Mac, and that it was just studio magic.
Mm.
I don't know
Yeah.
the song, so I can't comment.
Sarah's beautiful.
House.
All the little harmonies they have layered in there. Oh, it's perfection. And I love Wendy and Prince's interaction in the video. I think it's adorable.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Glee did a cover of this? Why?
Oh gosh.
Uh,
When
Oh, no,
that whole
I heard that
era,
episode, it was Mr. Shu. It was Mr. Shu who sang it, and I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be bad, and then it was.
I was not on the Glee train at all in any form.
Neither.
I did. I watched it. It was
Many
entertaining.
of their songs.
Now, I have a
It's like
question.
basically a little older kids bop to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh-uh.
That's what it was.
I have a question. Movie Star was recorded around this time, right?
I thought Movie Star was earlier, but
Now, can we talk about the B-side to Kiss, Love and Money?
it's Love
Love
or Money,
or Money.
sir.
Love or Money, that's right. And it's just the heart and the dollar sign. That's a fun little bop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's again, aside from 1999 in Erotic City, here he is again experimenting with the voice box.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're gonna be now.
Right. And the funny thing is that it's even a little higher than the Camille voice.
Right.
I know we need to remember that Camille's just around the corner, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
But
There,
it sounds like a really tiny man, like a really like a really tiny man, like
Oh.
trying to sing really loud.
Yeah.
Like my daughter used to watch this show called The Backyardigans, and one episode, two of the characters were playing supervillains, so they turned one of the other characters, and these are just fake looking animals.
Yeah.
Turned it really small, and that is how that character sounded.
On my channel, I do like versus videos where I like will pit Prince songs against each other.
Ooh.
And one video I did, and I was very proud of myself because I thought it was funny. It was Love versus Money versus Love or Money.
Oh,
Which I thought was a fun kind of comparison. Love ended up winning that one, by the way.
Does he have a song just called Love?
Yep.
mhm.
Off
He
of
has a song-
3121.
He has a song just called Money.
He has a song called Money. It's off of MPL Sound.
Well, you know who else has a song called Love or Money?
Joni Mitchell.
What? Do they
On her
sound
Miles of
exactly the
Isles.
same? Is this just a cover and we didn't know about it?
No. But
Not one of my favorite Joni songs, I must say.
me neither.
Well,
I think
it's
I've
not
listened-
really one of my favorite Prince songs either. So
No.
this is during the movie. This is they're going on a shopping spree song. So
Right.
Definitely
know.
B-side worthy. For sure,
It was-
B-side.
worthy. I agree.
And interestingly enough, it did not appear on the hits and B-sides, correct?
It did not.
Mm-mm.
It did not.
Does Love or Money appear anywhere on CD at this point?
You had only the Kiss B-side. That's it.
Was it ever issued on CD though? I think it was just vinyl, the single at that point.
Vinyl.
I don't know about that one.
So the Prince Estate, if you're listening, we need for us completists.
Oh, to answer the question, movie star was 1986.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So
That
what
is
about
what I
all
was-
this-
That's what I was going to look up, and then I got
Because
distracted.
it has it because it does have like the same kind of feel to me when I listen to that song.
Mm.
It's got that European feel, and then again, it's him and Wendy playing around,
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
and so kind of like like they do in the Kiss video.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, it's interesting because I'm so used to the single edit of Kiss that kind of has the fading guitar. That when it goes right into another lover hole in your head, it kind of took me off guard a little bit.
Mhm.
But here's the single for that one. This was the final single from the album, wasn't it? If I remember correctly.
No, wasn't it the third?
No, it was last.
Was it? It wasn't Girls and Boys last. Oh.
Oh, maybe.
Not to my knowledge.
Well, if Girls and Boys was the last one, then that was just poor marketing.
It was.
Like,
Girls and Boys was the last one.
It was, and it was only like a month later that they had released it.
Okay, and that was the B side to this. So I wonder if it was like a double A side.
It was, yeah. And see, that's
Um,
and the videos came out at the same time. That's why I was like, because I remember the last time I saw that video in my bedroom at home before Sign of the Times came out, and that was like yeah.
okay.
Now I will say I love Another Lover Hole in Your Head. Like
Me too.
I love it. I love the background vocals. I love the drama of it. I think it's great, and it's another one of those songs I really can't picture on any other Prince album. A lot of these songs are just parade songs to me.
To this song kind of sounds like Around the World in a Day a little bit too.
Okay,
I don't know why. It's just something about it that it could be either or.
Like I love the opening guitar in this, and it makes me sit and think about all the opening guitar riffs that Prince plays that I love. It gives me like When Doves Cry, even Kiss right before it,
right.
has that guitar, and so I love that part, and just that sucks you into the song.
Yeah, I definitely, I agree. I think his vocals are fantastic in this one.
Yeah,
Even like when he does that whole thing, like but it works so well. And then the backing vocals just elevate it to a different place too. And they're all in sync, and I just it's got that really amazing funk pop that he's just so good
Mhm.
at.
Yeah.
And it's like it is a cheeky song, you know what I mean? And yeah, I love this one. This is probably, I would say, one of my top
me
tracks
too.
on this album.
I
And
do
I
think
love-
there's some emotion in there too. There's definitely some feeling, like he's feeling something. Sorry to interrupt, Aisha.
Yeah, yeah. I love the way he wrote the title too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all is one word. Yeah, I dig
Yeah.
that. I would say that this one's not really high up on my list. I actually love the song itself. I feel like verse 2 is where a little bit of Aisha's organized chaos comes in with the back and forth there, which I felt like the first verse and like everything about it. It felt like it was such a like great song, and it had lots of breathing room. And there was stuff. And in that second verse, I think I like everything except for the second verse, because the second verse is just like, it's just everywhere. But I mean, the instrumentation and I like the background singing everywhere else. I don't think I like the call and response of verse 2.
See, I loved it because I felt like it was like a deteriorating relationship. Like it starts off, and then as you progress into it, it gets more and more chaotic and noisier and more voices and more noise. And it just kind of felt like that put into a song, which is why I didn't like it.
See, I wonder if that was deliberate or if it was an accident like Forever My Life was.
Right. Which I love that song too.
Well, yeah. I mean, who doesn't love that one?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think for this one though, like the song itself is good, but I could see how, that part of it could have made it less radio friendly possibly as well.
And who's singing? Who's singing this time?
Lisa and Wendy for sure. And
Oh, so this is
Susanna.
the other song with the Revolution. So yeah, Lisa and Wendy are on there. This is Dr. Fink, Brown Mark, Bobby Z are doing the instruments. Susanna's on there.
And is this about Susanna? Would you say?
I thought maybe.
This is when things were starting to go south a little bit, right?
But you got to remember, he had a lot of women in his life at that time. So it's not like.
Yeah, but it was always, don't do as I do. He didn't want her to have anybody else, but he could.
Right.
I think.
But it also could have been about it could have been about Jill. It could have been about anybody really at that time.
Sheila E., who claims that. Well, let's not get into that.
Because he's said, or she said, that he wrote Under the Cherry Moon for Susanna.
Okay.
That was very explicit.
You always wonder, like, if life would have gone in a different direction. Like, a little piece of me wishes that it could have worked out for Prince and Susanna, and they would have had a happily ever after this album. And that's not what happened, of course. But for a moment in time, it seemed like he almost had his Forever in My Life. So,
yeah. I wish happy things for all people.
Yeah, me too.
Can you push pause?
What'd you say?
Can you push pause?
I still didn't hear that.
Can you push pause, Jeremy?
Okay, push pause.
Oh.
So yes, Another Lover, Hole in Your Head was a really great song. Any other thoughts on this track?
No, good song.
I love
No,
it.
and I like the live version that they did for the video.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. So my whole argument about the second verse could just be a mixing thing. Because honestly, when he did it live, it sounded good. But on record, it was just too much.
Love that part.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why I said I think it might have been like Forever in My Life, where the track played behind the other track. They weren't synced, because when they did it live for the video, the vocals were together. There wasn't that lag.
Right.
See, I like it, and I think it's perfect in the studio version. I actually love it. So I guess we're split on that one.
I do too.
I like it the way it is, but I get what you're saying, Eli.
This, for me, like,
All I seek is understanding. Thank you.
just remembering the time and just being a teenager, this song was like perfect. It was like, when you're dating a boy, like you're dating a boy and then he's like off with somebody else, and it's the song. It's like the angst, like, you don't need to be with anybody else. You need to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm a lot older than you guys, so.
You are not. Stop that.
No.
I'm gonna be 47 in like less than a month.
Yeah, I'm older than that.
Oh, okay. Let's move on. I will not ever ask anyone to reveal their age. We don't do that. And phonogenics, homogenics.
I only do that on Joni podcast because most people are like, you weren't even born during then, right? And I'm like, well, sometimes I wasn't.
Depending on the day.
Yeah, what I get a lot on my channel is that if I'll say something like, yeah, Prince's 80s music was good, but I preferred his later stuff. And they'll be like, you weren't even old enough to enjoy it. And I'm like, well, sorry, I was 5. Like, I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, I wasn't old enough to enjoy it in the time. You can always listen back to it though. And I see the genius in it. I see why everybody liked it. I like his later stuff.
Do you like Planet Earth better than Purple Rain? Say it right here on my channel.
Say no. I would say Planet Earth is not better than Purple Rain.
The album?
Yeah.
The album. If we were going song for song, that would be a good contest. I would have to break it down and see. Album for album, no. Okay. Definitely Purple Rain is the better album. Do I like Planet Earth better than Controversy? Yeah.
Oh. Are you even old enough to? No, I'm just totally kidding.
That's not it.
I'm old enough to enjoy Planet Earth.
That's another one that I only like listen to 1 or 2 songs on.
Yeah, I'll revisit it sometime. All right, back to Parade. We have 1 song left. We have done it, y'all. We've tackled this album. The final song, when I was listening to it today as I was driving to go shopping, it's been a long time since I heard the song by Prince. I did hear it by Sandra Bernhard in Pose, and she actually did a respectable job. Honestly, I thought it was beautiful. Sometimes it snows in April. Now, Jahida and I were talking. The thing that always put me off on the song was the strange chord changes. When I was listening to today, that's what made me love it. Like, I totally switched, and I was like, this is beautiful. This is unique in the Prince catalog, and it's just a really gorgeous song. Yeah. So
it's a beautiful song. It is a really beautiful song. I like it a little bit better than Purple Rain, but it's hard to listen to. It's not that I don't like it. It's hard to listen to. It was hard to listen to in 1986. It's hard to listen to now. And so I avoid it as much as possible.
Can you elaborate on that? Why is it hard to listen to?
Well, because, I was 11 and Prince died in a movie. It was just hard to listen to. When you listen to the lyrics, he sounds so lonely. And, the odd thing with the tracking information on this is that he recorded it April 21st, 1985.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, there's something so foreboding about the song. And it's like, you're in this really happy mood with another lover holding your head and just listen to Kiss and you have mountains and everything. And this just takes you from up top to rock bottom. And it's like the switch in emotions is so sharp that, I can't do it. It's like that roller coaster ride. I can't do that.
I don't like to listen to it now, like just for that reason, because it makes me sad. And the thought of like him dying in the movie and then him dying and then the whole date thing. But like back then I didn't see the movie right away with it. So listening to it on the album is just like a sad song, but it didn't really get me that way. It wasn't hard to listen to for me back then, but it is now. I agree, because like Purple Rain makes you sad, but this one is just like another level. It's just like,
it's almost prescient.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's an intimacy to this one, right? Because Purple Rain, the song, was recorded live and then brought into the studio and layers upon layers put on and all these things. And like this one is like a piano and acoustic and then like just his amazing voice. And a little bit of strings on there, but like it's more stripped down than Purple Rain was. So I think it hits harder. I still listen to it. It's probably one of my favorites to sing. Just because he does kind of go low and then high and he's kind of all over the place with it. And I love the song lyrically, musically. the execution is wonderful. I think it's all around an amazing song. And I think it's a good ender, especially since, again, if we're doing the movie,
We started with Christopher Tracy, ended with Christopher Tracy.
It's the big death song,
Now, do you think he was writing it just as a character sketch for the movie, or do you think there was a little bit of Prince in there?
I think there was a little bit of him in there, but I think I gotta think how this song ended up being in the movie, because the original script, Christopher Tracy doesn't die.
Hmm.
In the original script that they were working off of when they had the first director.
Okay.
Was it somebody Lambert or something like that? And the other script, he didn't die.
Hmm.
And so I'm wondering if he wrote this song specifically for that scene.
Yeah. I feel like as a songwriter, I think every song is going to have a bit of you in it.
Sure.
So I don't think that there's any way, unless you're writing for sync, that's what we talk about nowadays in music. But I think back then, he was already, I think every song has a bit of him. The dates of when it was recorded and all the, if you even just divorce the song from all of that, it's just a damn good song. And it is, and even without all of that, it is still also a very sad song.
And Shahida, wouldn't you say there's some Joni in there in this one?
In this song? No.
Just the intimacy. I feel like that intimacy.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is like his blue.
Yeah, that's what I mean, more than like style wise, but just like the level of soul bearing.
Oh, 100%. And again, I mean, one of the things that Joni's really great at that in this song, I think Prince really gets is that imagery.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously it's for a movie, so, you have the visual to begin with. But again, if you had never watched the movie, you can listen to the song and just have that imagery, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Aisha. He sounds so lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other part about this song that I think it stands out from the rest of the album and makes it very different is that there's so much space in between notes. There's a lot of like silent space in this song, where none of the other songs, all the other songs are filled to the hilt, and then this one song, it's like stripped bare. He makes the use of, he makes silence musical.
Well, there's that Miles Davis quote, right? The notes you don't play are sometimes more important.
So true.
And I tell my students this all the time. So I teach music. I teach performing arts, but I've taught music for a long time, and so to me, it's one of the things I try to tell my students, because I teach young kids, is don't always feel like you have to fill every single moment, right? You have to fill it with like a bajillion notes, the reason we like certain songs are for those spaces, because it allows us to process what we just heard and what we just felt before we can go on to something else, and you have to give yourself that. And I do agree. I think this song, why it is so impactful is because of that space, and it allows you to really sink in what he's saying and how he's saying it, the emotions. And it's just, it feels like Joni, it feels very bare, very
authentic.
Confessional. Yeah, confessional. And it's heartfelt, and so it's one of those things. Whereas like I think, for the majority of songs, like Prince kind of comes up as this larger than life character, whereas this, it's like he's human and
vulnerable.
He's vulnerable.
He's very small.
He's felt.
And the song is so big,
right? So yeah, and in contemplate. I mean, I think also too the fact that he's self-referential. He's Christopher Tracy. It's like, well, again, it's contemplative of the meaning of life, right? Like, and death and all of those themes. So for sure. I mean, this is, I think, it's rightfully one of his most celebrated songs, I think, and especially I'm sure especially more because of the way that, you know, the recording and how it was prescient, you know, but I think it's finally just getting its due, you know, and it's worth it. It's a
And
beautiful.
I wonder, had he not died in April, if the song would be getting as much of its
Oh,
due.
definitely not.
Yeah,
Right.
probably
I doubt
not.
it. I doubt it. I think that adds to it, you know, it's very,
Right.
I mean, and that's happened a couple of times, right? Like, I mean, I can't think of any right now, but
He also
where
had
artists
that that incident in 1996 on April 21st.
dang, so that's like a thing for him. That
Yeah.
date. Hmm.
Well,
But are there other artists who have like, I'm sure there are, but songs where they've kind of predicted their, you know, death or their sort of, you know.
He did that a lot, like in his songs. It's if you listen to the lyric, like even "Let's Go Crazy," it's just like seems prophetic.
with the elevator. Yeah.
Yeah, the elevator. Yep.
So how did the only thing that comes to mind, and it's not
The answer to
nearly.
your question is yes, there are. I'm trying to place it.
I know, right? Because I'm like, I know that there are some where people have like kind of been prophetic with their music, and I'm like,
It was a closer time frame, but I put like Bowie's Black Star kind of
oh yeah.
in that category.
But didn't he already know he was?
Yeah, I was gonna. It's a little bit different because
It's
he
a
was
little different.
Yeah, I think Axl Rose was kicked out of Guns N' Roses in November.
Oh. All right. So I feel like sometimes it snows in April has really brought down the mood and depressed us all. So
That's why I had to make a joke. I'm sorry.
I'd like to remind everybody of Madonna's new ass.
Oh my god.
The
Horrible.
song.
Oh,
I still have not seen it.
Horrible.
I'm sure
No,
my wife's gonna
you know,
make me
it's-
see
Make
it.
sure you
That's
see
all
the
right.
side view.
Side version. No,
Yeah.
You gotta see the side
the
view.
worst.
it looks so horrible. Ah.
Sorry, Madonna.
It's
So-
like, oh my gosh, she needs to just stop fighting it. Stop fighting it. Surrender.
For
You're
real.
getting older, and just be graceful about it.
Oh,
Tina Turner, or you know, Bette Midler. She don't care.
But her butt looks like this R&B singer K Michelle's butt used to look from the fillers. K Michelle got her butt fillers out.
I'm gonna get. What would you all do if next month on the podcast I had fillers? Like I stood up and it's like, boom.
Wow.
All right, so here we go. So apparently, some of the people who have predicted their own deaths in songs
Okay.
are Leonard Skinnard,
Mm.
Okay.
Ronnie Van Zant,
Freebird.
yeah, no, That Smell.
Oh,
I
interesting.
know it's bad, but yeah. And then there's also so it says, "Say you'll be all right come tomorrow, but tomorrow might not be there. Here for you, angel of darkness upon you, the smell of death surrounds you."
Wow.
And then, you know, just 3 days.
They had their plane crash.
Plane crash. Jeff Buckley, Dream Brother, which I love actually. And the song, you want to know what's crazy? So, because I'm a big Jeff Buckley fan, his father, Tim Buckley, also died young. And so the song is about their, like, even though he died young and everything, kind of like their parallel lives in ways. And then he ended up dying young too.
Wow.
He drowned in the Mississippi River.
Mm.
So, okay. And then apparently Hank Williams wrote a song called "I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive." And
I am not writing any songs about my death. I am not.
Right. John Lennon, "Borrowed Time."
Ooh.
And then Jimi Hendrix, "The Ballad of Jimmy." So, yeah, it says Jimmy in 1965, before most people even knew who he was, Jimi Hendrix entered a New York recording studio, probably Electric Ladyland, and probably weirded out everybody in the room by cutting a new tune about how some dude named Jimmy was going to be dead in 5 years. And
Mm.
so there you go.
Wow.
I mean, but I guess depending too, like if you're the kind of person who has a, very rock star kind of, crazy life, you probably do have this "I'm gonna die young" kind of mentality. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it like, live fast, die hard, leave a good looking corpse?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of the motto anyway. So it makes sense, but just that was a little side, but going back to Sometimes It Snows in April, I'm really glad you re-listened to it because those different harmonics, with the chord changes, to me, take the song from here to here.
Yeah.
It just is so different in a way that it makes you really, again, with the processing what you just heard with the space, it takes you like, well, wait, that's weird, that's not the chord I was expecting, or
Right.
that's not the harmony I'm expecting, and then once you finish listening to it for the first time, you listen back and you're like, hell, I can't even think of what the chord I originally thought it would be is in there, because it's so, even though it's odd, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It really just it's so pleasing. It's dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your other question, Jeremy, Michael Jackson had a song called Morphine.
Oh.
It
That's
talks
actually
about
one of my all-time favorite Michael Jackson songs.
Really?
morphine and
It is so
ephemeral.
dope.
All right. Well, we did it. We talked about Parade. We need to do what we do at the end of all the podcasts, and we're going to go around the circle and rate this album on a scale of 1 to 10.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go in the order of my screen. Aisha, Parade, scale of 1 to 10.
I gave it a 9.8.
9.8. Woo! Almost
Yeah.
perfect. All right,
Almost.
Jahida.
Almost perfect, except for just I think that he could have included Alexa de Paris on it.
Aw. All right, Jahida.
Well, I mean, I would say a 10. I think this is one of his best albums, 100%. I mean, is it like, this is like the Hajira issue, right? Like, for me,
Right.
like, Purple Rain, I would say, is like a 20, out of 10. So, I mean, it's hard when you have someone who is so wonderful at what they do to just kind of like, say, oh, well, this is not the one of the greatest albums. It's like, fuck, this is one of the greatest albums, And for somebody else, this would be one of their like best albums forever, whereas for Prince, it's like, it's one of the many, and so, and that's how I feel like we feel with Joni,
Yeah, that
So,
70s stretch, we really struggled to rate those albums because they're all
they're
one
all
after another.
so good. So, yeah, I would say this is a 10 because for just its ingenuity, for how it's so different than so much of what we usually hear from Prince, but yet it's still so quintessentially Prince, and it's really just like, and this is even for somebody who's not seen the movie in a long time,
Right.
you don't have to be a fan of the movie to really love this album. And I think that's important.
Yeah. All right. Aloy.
Oh yeah. I'd almost say that people who don't like the movie end up still liking the album. I know it's a tough one for me. I'm not a huge fan of giving number scores to things. I feel like each of Prince's albums holds its own place, and even if I don't necessarily enjoy it, there's a reason why it exists in the form that it's in.
Sure.
As it is part of his musical journey. If I had to put a number on it, maybe 6.5, 7.
Okay.
Because there are definitely albums, way better albums. An album that gets a 10 is 2 albums away. That would be Love Sexy. So
Stay tuned next month.
yeah.
New
Are you
Power
doing
Soul.
that? Is your number in comparison to his other ones, or just this album by itself, standalone?
Both, I guess. You know, I if I had to compare them, see, I think it actually no, I think that's by itself. I think if I was to compare it to other albums, it might dip a bit. But I mean, just because, you know, me as a listener, it's you know, it's a shorter album. Some of them feel like filler songs. Some of them feel like they're just kind of jamming and they're not really like necessarily all putting all that much effort into it, like I was saying before. Then of course, then you have like 4 songs on there that are just like mind blowing. You know what I mean? But then like the other ones feel like they're there to get you to the really good ones.
Well, I think that's what their purpose is on the in the movie too, to move along the storyline.
Yeah.
All right,
So
Melissa.
I
Melissa.
feel like do what they're supposed to do, but as an album, you know, like, you know, me being a, you know, Prince listener, I was like, I'm gonna just listen to him from one after another. And I was like, I just finished Around the World in a Day and loved it. And I'm like, I can't wait to get the next one. And I like hit play and I'm like, 30 minutes went by and I'm like, that's it? Wait, what's happening here? What's happening here? That wasn't nearly as good as what I got. I mean, and luckily I got a double album on the next one, but you know, anyway, moving on. I'm done.
All right, Melissa, Parade.
I can't really like put it against any other album. Like just on its own, for me, it's a 10 because I listened to it on the album or cassette like over and over and over again in this order. So everything to me flows perfectly.
Mhm.
Like this album is like the way it should be. Everything's perfect.
And finally, I believe I'm going to give it a 9. I think it's an experiment that works from beginning to end. I really do. I don't think there was a misstep in there. I think there were some more lighthearted moments, and sometimes maybe when Prince wasn't taking himself so seriously, but thank God for that. You know, it's a nice, after Around the World in a Day, I know Tambourine was kind of fun, but overall it was a lot of messages there. And this time it just was it was just a good ride for me. I enjoyed the parade.
I
Speaking
see
of
what
that,
you did there.
we see Super Deluxe coming soon. Because I know a lot of fans have been wanting a Parade Super Deluxe.
Is there enough material to warrant that? Was there a lot of outtakes from this?
I don't know.
I have heard that there is plenty. A lot of the songs from around this era were on the Sign of the Times Deluxe,
Right.
but apparently they still have enough.
Okay.
That's what I've heard.
They released that one part of it, Evolusi Dog, which is Guys Love Backwards.
Mhm.
I want to hear Little Wendy's Parade, the original mix of Christopher Tracy's Parade.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I have heard that.
Is it basically the same, just different lyrics?
It is basically the same. They just sing Little Girl Wendy's Parade, and I think there's another verse.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I think there's another verse. There's something about that song that reminds me of, like, you know, the Carousel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a proposition, everybody. I feel like we should meet next year in 2022 and talk about Prince's Love Sexy album.
Yes.
Okay.
And everyone has to be sitting naked in a flower on the
Oh Lord.
on the Zoom call.
I better start working out right now.
I better go get my butt implants so I can get a side view.
I'm down. I'll be there. I love talking about Love Sexy.
Yeah.
Well, I had so much fun hanging out with you all tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your lives to talk about Prince. This has been so much fun. And I will see you all next month. Jahida, I'll see you next week when we get our frizzy perm and get Thomas Dolby in the studio to talk about Joni Mitchell's Dog Eat Dog.
Boy, okay. I hate the freaking perm.
Oh, the perm's the worst.
The worst.
All right. Well, thanks to my Patreon subscribers, YouTube, and most of all, thanks to my friends for talking music with me. This is just the highlight of the week. So see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you guys.
You too.